With Unfungible, the company that I founded, we hit $10,000 in total revenue on July 21st, 2022. Only 3 weeks after launching Unfungible, with 0 subscribers on YouTube and 0 followers on X and $0 spent on marketing. Our first $10,000 in revenue month was in November of 2022. The worst month in crypto history, the month where FTX crashed. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the exact things that I did that you can learn so you can hit your first $10,000 in revenue. Who is this video for? This is a video for someone who is in Web3 and wants to monetize their skill set or expertise by either selling products, selling solutions, selling services, selling their knowledge. So whether you are building a product, you have a platform coming out, you have a new product that could solve problems in the industry, whether you have a certain expertise that you're trying to sell to other people, whether you have a big audience and you're trying to attract advertisers, my guarantee is that what I'm gonna be sharing with you in this video is gonna get you one step closer to making your first $10,000. Now, who is this video not for? This is a video for someone that thinks that making your first 10K is going to be easy. It definitely wasn't. We hit that in 3 weeks after starting Unfungible. But I have 5 years of experience building businesses before starting Unfungible. Unfungible is not my first business rodeo. So I was able to come into this space, see an opportunity, capitalize on it, and most definitely, the experience that I have building successful businesses in Web2 helped me get there. So this is not a guarantee that you're gonna make $10,000 in your 3 weeks. However, the guarantee is that by watching this video, you're gonna be learning from someone that did it, and I'm gonna be sharing with you the exact footsteps that you can follow. And it all starts with step number 1, which is finding your underserved niche. When I started Unfungible in 2022, it was the beginning of the bear market. You know, that big wick down where all the tokens, all the NFTs, they just like everything went down 50% in a month. That was the month where we started. So there was still some hype, but there was a lot more fear than there was greed in the market at that stage. But when I came in and I wanted to launch Unfungible, I realized that there was a big gap in the marketplace. There were a lot of projects wanting to launch that were looking for expertise, were looking for knowledge and insight on marketing information. But there was no one good source of truth that gave that to them. There was actually no Web3 marketing content on the internet. I couldn't find anything good. I couldn't. And I remember seeing this one YouTube channel. It was like an agency, a Web3 marketing agency. They're no longer around since 2 years from now. They were doing like very basic, low quality videos. And then I went on the website and I scrolled down to the part where you can see their Calendly to book a meeting to speak with them. And their earliest availability was in 3 weeks and a half from now. So they were fully booked for 3 years and a half. They couldn't speak with people. So I saw this and I was like, if they were able to do it with this low quality of a channel with literally no face, it was as bad as YouTube can get. If they could do it, I can like crush it at this. So we kicked it off. I started making content designed for Web3 marketing knowledge. And lo and behold, a week after publishing my first video, we got our first sale. Second week, we got another sale. And by the end of the second week, we got the third sale, which resulted in that first $10,000 in revenue. So what does that mean for you? Fundamentally, and this is something that I've spoken about in this channel and I've learned from Russell Brunson, there are 3 niches that exist fundamentally. There's the health, wealth, and relationships niches. As humans, we are driven to take action that fit into one of these 3 criteria. Naturally, in Web3, we are in the finance industry. We fit in the very third of these niches right here. So virtually every Web3 participant is in this industry to make money. And what we do through our products, our services, our platforms, is we help people make money. And the way you do that is different. Some might create a marketing agency. Others might help people set their company incorporations in certain jurisdictions. Others might create platforms to look at the performance of influencers. It is all different solutions for the same means. This is the transformation that our target audience wants. Whether it's a person or it's an entity, the goal is the same. Now this is where it gets interesting. Under wealth, that's where we can reverse engineer all the wealth mechanisms that exist in the world. There are some people that are trying to achieve wealth through real estate. Others are trying to do so by starting SaaS businesses, for example. We happen to be in the Web3 bubble. And the reason why I draw this for you is it's all of a sudden going to make it a lot easier for you to identify opportunities that exist, because my guarantee to you, there are more underserved niches than there are served niches in this industry. Like, I know it. There are so many ways to make money in this space. It's all about understanding where to see the opportunities and how to attack the market. The path that I wanted to go is services. So services in marketing. You see how I went 4 layers niche. And that is how we were able to position ourselves in an industry is uncompeted with, pretty much. Now here's where it gets interesting with Web3. If you spend 15 minutes drawing this, so you can remove everything else and just draw this, you are gonna have the ability to expand these bubbles in hundreds of different categories. For example, you could say, let's say you were doing Web3, services, and you had a tech firm. So you help develop smart contract. You could have one company that masters the Ethereum niche. So it's like they are known in the Ethereum space. There are you could have companies that specialize on Solana. Plenty of them. That's how they got known. You could have people specialize themselves in new emerging ecosystems. And the thing about Web3 is that every month we get new big pockets that open up. Who would have thought that Bear Chain would all of a sudden become one of the biggest builders ecosystem in Web3? Whoever positioned themselves first there, all of a sudden were able to reap the rewards that came with being there first. Every single industry or every single product and service that already exists in every other chain, oftentimes a very simple thing to do is just to take this and apply that and modify it for it to fit that new ecosystem opening. I've seen a lot of new creators pop out of nowhere because they started talking about an ecosystem early on. They capitalized on the attention that this space was getting. And here's the thing, when you capitalize on attention, you end up attracting the money that comes with it. So the very first thing that I would think about is, what is a niche that you personally are interested in? What is something that you could spend the next decade talking about and not get bored of it? There's this thing called Ikigai, which is the perfect combination of something. That's that point right here. That's the Ikigai. Ikigai is pretty much the combination of something that you're good at, people want to buy, you have passion for, and that the world needs. I've reverse engineered Ikigai into this right here, because if there is a market for what is it you're trying to sell, then the market already exists. The biggest problem that I see people make, and I've made this mistake myself, by the way, in Web2, is you try to create the problem that you solve. It's like, oh, let me create the problem and bring the solution. And you oftentimes end up finding yourself, you're solving a solution for a problem that doesn't exist in the first place. So by looking at niches this way, you all of a sudden have the ability to find something where there is money. Money is flowing there. Do you have the interest to fill that? And the reason why we start with this very element, identifying what is the niche that you want to fill, especially opportunities that come with emerging new niches, is the second thing that comes, which is number 2, identify your service delivery. So number 2, identify your service delivery. You could have the same problem and you can attack it in many ways. What do I mean by this? Let's go back to the example of supporting companies with the law-related inquiries. New companies, they have a certain token structure and they want to incorporate their business. They have shareholders and then they have investors, helping them pretty much craft their business entity legally. There's a few ways to do this. Number one, you can offer the service, so you can do it for them as a service. Number two, you can create a course where they learn about how to do it themselves and you support them with that. Number three, you can create a platform that is self-serve platform where people can just, in a few clicks of a button, they pay for the membership. They can open their company and corporation using your platform. Or number four is you can create a network of lawyers and you charge access to that very network. So there are many ways to solve the same problem. For me, I knew I wanted to do marketing because that's what I'm passionate about. I'm looking at my table, I'm looking at my bookshelf full of marketing books. It's what I'm passionate about. So from here, the question then becomes, which angle are we going to attack the problem with? Do we want to sell services? So services. Do we want to sell products to the world? Are we looking to sell attention? This is when, let's say you have a big podcast or you have a big audience and you can sell sponsorship. So you sell access to your audience, to people, and then you can sell access. Access, which is, for example, what's very common are people that are very well connected. They take on roles as advisors. At the end, when you see advisors on projects, it's pretty much someone that is part of the project that is going to help the project get into certain rooms, get into conversations with people. It's like, oh, you need access to that person? I actually have the connection for you. This is what advisors do. So you can sell services. Let's take the very simple example of something like Pump Fun. Pump Fun, great example. It covers these two right here. So Pump Fun, let's say the founders were like, meme coins, tokenized culture, amazing, the future of Web3. What we're gonna do is we wanna help people deploy meme coins better. The first thing they could have done if they went with the services way is, let's just create an agency. Meme coin teams reach out to us and we help deploy that to them. Totally feasible agency model. What they decided to do instead is create a self-serve platform. So they solved the same problem, they did it in a different way. One was probably easier to do than the other. It's a lot easier to start selling services than to build a platform that might cost millions. And maybe there won't be any product market fit at all. Who knows? So you see the same problem attacked in different ways. So what I would think at this point is, which of these do I want to go after? My preferred one, if you are still starting off in business and you don't have tens of thousands of dollars that you're ready to potentially lose in your business, I would always start off with services. Services are great because you are selling to people to the level of your expertise. So you want to start selling more, you have to upgrade as an expert. When we started with Unfungible, we were selling incredible product that we had. We were selling consulting for $3,600. $3,600, what people would get is they would get a brand audit, they would get a go-to-market strategy, they would get 6 one-on-one calls, and then they would get 12 months of weekly access to our weekly workshops. So we would do weekly workshops. Every week we would be covering something new. 3.6K for 12 months of value. But that was, back then, that was the most we could command because we were still new in the space. I didn't have the reputation that I have now. We didn't have the case studies and the brand names that we have now, part of our company. So what we could command to the marketplace was very different. But 3.6K, we still managed to build a business around this. And as we grew, as we got better, as we started having bigger case studies, that started to go up. And now you just can't buy consulting hours with me. I don't do this. I say no to advisory positions just because that's not where I want my time and attention. to go. And the second thing I'll say about services is attention. I know guys, I remember I met one of the top influencers in the Web3 gaming space last year in Paris. One of the like flagship, most loved, trusted, respected, golden touch. Anything he touches turns into gold. He told me he was stuck at about $50,000 per month, which is good money. But when you're in business, the goal is always, how do we break the next level? So he was stuck at $50,000. And I sat there with him and I was like, okay, there's a couple ways to double. We can double our pricing, what we charge advertisers, or we can double how many ads we take on. He was like, yeah, no, I'm definitely not taking on more ads. It's just gonna start burning my audience. And I'm like, exactly. The problem with attention is that eventually you start hitting a plateau that you cannot start breaking without diluting your brand value, which is why you see a lot of people who have attention as their business model, they start shifting into services, or they eventually build a product. Think of Mr. Beast, for example. He had all the attention and then he was like, okay, boom, let's do Feastables. So this right here is a great example why I am a much bigger fan of services. And services you can just scale. And services, eventually you do hit a plateau as well, where you have to move into bigger opportunities with SaaS, working with higher ticket enterprise clients. But I will say services, you can easily, and I'm speaking from experience, 300K per month, easy, without hitting plateau. Attention, I would say you're at 50K per month. And then product is pretty infinite. But the level of difficulty that comes with going into product is very different from the rest. And that is where, for myself, my next career evolution will be into moving into that second chapter. We'll be moving into that second element when the time calls for it, of course. Third thing we are going to do, let me clear this up right here for us. The very third step that we're gonna do is we're gonna identify our MVP. Our MVP. And this is one that is very important for me to say. So the MVP stands for minimum viable product. And what you're trying to do with the MVP is you're trying to find what is the minimum thing that people are willing to pay money for. Oftentimes, your MVP is not going to be the product that you end up selling for the rest of your career. Instead, the MVP, once you identify it, is very quickly going to evolve. I'll give you the example. The very first client that we sold, we actually sold them on a marketing knowledge book. So we were like, hey, we got you. You have problem 1, 2, and 3. We're gonna build a report for you on how to solve these problems. I remember that was June of 2022. And we charged them $2,000 for it. We sold it, started working on it. 2 weeks after, we sent the guy a PDF document. And it was a 75-page PDF document, we still have it. By doing this, we were able to collect feedback from the client. So he told us, he was like, this is I like this part, but then there's these few things that I would have loved to see more of. And through that, it then allowed us to identify, okay, here's how we need to evolve this. So instead of just sending it as a PDF by email, it's how about we start presenting it on calls with people? And then it was okay, what if we started presenting it, but then we made it look better? Therefore, it became a presentation. Then we noticed people value hand-holding as they deploy. So we started adding touch-based calls every 6 weeks when they were implementing. So you see how the MVP was the minimum viable product that you could sell, that people were willing to give you money for, but then the MVP will not be the minimum viable revenue source that you will have in place. But it's very important to start on the MVP because at this stage, you probably have no idea what are people even buying. What am I selling? How am I different from the marketplace? You're gonna need to build the minimum thing to sell to the market. Another great example on how that can apply to on a bigger scale. We have one of our clients, they are the top decentralized exchange on Chronos and on Abstract chain. They do a lot of things, but during the whole Abstract craze, Abstract was becoming the big thing. People were talking about it, people were making money. What they did very well is that they positioned themselves as the go-to place to trade meme coins. So a lot of people, when there's a new chain, when there's a new niche that opens up, again, going back to our bubbles here, abstract opened up as a niche. So all of a sudden, a lot of players had the opportunity to rush in and become the first at it. And these guys position themselves as the first DEX where you can swap meme coins on abstract. So for them, they could have literally scrapped everything else they did in the business. And that one MVP right there was enough to start attracting people into the business. Now, obviously, all their other functionalities and everything they had made the product more sticky, made it better, all of this, but you don't need an array, a menu, a buffet of things to attract people into your business. You just need one thing that people really want, and then they end up discovering the other things. And for that DEX that I was telling you about, it was the ability to trade meme coins on abstract. And then number 4 thing we're gonna start doing is reverse engineer your founder funnel strategy. I see this very often where people, when they start a new business, the first instinct that they have is, let me start a brand account. The problem with this logic right here is that brand accounts are horrible at generating attention. It is incredibly rare. I've very rarely seen someone be able to generate attention through a typical brand account strategy. Instead, it's typically the founder funnel account, so the founder account, a founder-led content strategy where you have the ability to attract business into your ecosystem. People resonate with people. Your ability to create better content is a lot higher through a founder account than it is through a brand account. People are a lot more likely to take action when they know that they're betting on a person than when they are on a human. It goes back to the story that I was telling you about at the beginning. When I started Unfungible and I was looking at like the YouTube Web3 marketing landscape, there was this brand that were doing content on the brand account. It was horrible. And I was like, I'm gonna do better on my personal account. And that was my first instinct, starting my personal founder account. And not even thinking, like we don't even now, like 3 years later, 7-figure business, we don't even have a brand account strategy in place because we don't need it. No one has ever asked about it. There's no point in having it. Eventually there will get a point where we need to start diversifying our marketing channels. But for now, you guys, like there's no need for it. People do this step way too early and they think that is the necessary step. Instead, I would think, how do I roll out a successful founder funnel strategy? And if you're not sure what the founder funnel is or how you can master it, stick to the end. I'm going to be pinning a video for you in the very last 10 seconds of this video, just so you can learn more about the founder funnel. The fourth element that we have right here, so number 5, is creating a simple landing page. So what is a landing page? A landing page is a one-pager where people can learn about what you do and how they can get involved. This is incredibly important for 2 reasons. Number 1, if someone is in pain, they're looking to find a solution to their problem ASAP. So the easier you make it for them to reach out to you or to take the next step, the easier it will be for them to give you their money. As simple as that. You don't want to make the money giving process very complicated. So the landing page right here allows you to do just that. Where I see a lot of people fail is that they overthink this step and they think that they need this very fancy website with all these animations and you scroll and then there's a planet that you don't need none of that. You just need a simple one-pager where you have a big title, maybe some text, maybe a logo or 2 of projects that you've worked with, and then a place where people can book a call with you if you are in the services space. If you are having a product, then it becomes same thing, just what do you do from here? So step 1, download this. Step 2, do that. And I see a lot of people, they either do not have a website. If you don't have a website, you don't have a business, or they have a website that is too fancy and they've spent too much time working on. Guys, I promise you, the very first Unfungible website, I put up in 2 hours. 2 hours, I found a template. I was like, oh, this is nice. Boom, put that. changed the title, changed some stuff. We didn't have a single logo. We didn't have a single testimonial. We had nothing, just a Calendly and a title, and that's it. Do not overthink this step. Just have a one-pager, whether you do copywriting services, whether you do law services. Just give people a place where they can take action to the next step. Because here's breaking news. No one is going to reach out to you by DM. I know it's like, oh, if someone really wants to work with me, they're going to reach out to me by DM. It's too complicated. No one wants to reach out to you. No one wants to ask you a question and hear back from you. They just want one place. What do I do next? Like, lead me. That's where when people are in pain or when people are looking for solutions, they are looking to be led. And when you ask them to send you a DM, you are asking them to lead, not you the other way. People need leadership when they are about to buy something from you. And a website that tells them do 1, 2, and 3, we're gonna hop on a call, and on that call, we're gonna identify your problems, and from there, I'm gonna create an audit of your problem and how we can help you. It's like, okay, boom, I get it. It's all I need, I'll book the call. And this, like just right here, this is gonna be enough for you to hit your very first $10,000. Like just this. My goal with this video is to remove everything else, all the other things that could be done in business. There's a lot of things that you could do. My goal was to simplify it to the bare bones. We had 10K in revenue in the first 3 weeks by literally following this. Nothing else. There was literally nothing else in the pipeline. And you can't say that I was in the bull market, because I wasn't. It was the bear market by the time I had started. So if I was able to do this back in 22, when, by the way, people hated agencies back then, you could do this. You just have to repeat my system. Now, if you are asking what's next, that's where a couple things that helped me is get good at sales calls. You know, at some point you're gonna start getting people reaching out to you. And an easy way to double your business is to double the closing rate that you have on calls. When people do reach out to you, if you are doing sales calls. You could be getting 10 calls per month, which is, by the way, what we were getting at Unfungible. So I was getting about 7 to 10 calls per month for most of the bear market. So for me, I was like, I need to, this is what I'm getting. These are the cards that I'm being dealt. The universe is sending me these 10 people per month. This is what I can do to close. This is the only revenue that will be put on my table. So I was like, I could either close one person, get 3.6, or I could double by just closing 2 people, or I could double again by closing 4 people. So the easiest way to double your business at this stage, once you are starting to get some traffic, is by getting good at sales calls. At this stage in 22, I was okay. I had some friends that were in sales. I knew the basics, like listen before you speak, identify the problems, ask more questions than you speak. Your prospect should be speaking 80% of the time, and you 20%, the basics. And then as I started doing more sales calls, I started learning more, took courses. And now, as of April of 2025, I've invested over $40,000 in sales training. Half of it was for me, the other half of it was for my team. So that does become an important thing a little bit later down. And then number 7, if you really are hungry, and let's say you've hit 10K, or you're not hitting it as quickly as you want, that's where cold outreach comes in. I know a lot of people that get all their business through cold outreach. No founder funnel, nothing, just cold outreach. And it works. It works very well, by the way, because at Unfungible, it's part of our strategy. And the goal with cold outreach is, you know, when you get a big block of message like this, that's not good cold outreach. A good cold outreach is one where you have the ability to spark a conversation with people that all of a sudden ends up opening the prospect of a discovery call. So a sales call, step number 6. And yeah, if leading with a question, depending on your industry, what that looks like, or on the solution that you've decided to take on, lead with the question, open a conversation, hop on a call. And do this 300 times per day. We literally have a team of people, sales team, we have a sales team, and a team of people that do this. That's what business looks like. That's what the services industry looks like. And that's why you eventually hit a plateau, because the size of growing the business now, you have to double your business, you have to double your staff. So it has that unscalable element to it. But all that to say, do not sleep on this. If you really aren't getting results with the above, which again, you should. The founder funnel takes a lot of time, but if you are targeting an industry that is hot, that is getting attention and traction, and you generally are not horrible at content creation, you should start getting attention on your project. I know because I've seen it. I've seen a lot of people like reach out to me thanking me for this. So yeah, with that said, make sure you follow me on X at @LeonAboud_. And if you want to learn how to master the founder funnel, make sure you watch this video right here. Cheers.